Hare Krishna Maharaj. I had a question on when we read Shastras, then how can we work to actively implement it in our day-to-day lives, or specifically on the Bhagavad-gītā?
We were just reading the 13th chapter of the Bhagavad-gītā. I find when I read chapters of the Bhagavad-gītā, it's like rediscovering it. It's like reading it for the first time. And in that section of the 13th chapter, there's a verse that talks about how Krishna has his hands and legs everywhere. And Prabhupada explains in the purport that Krishna is in the spiritual world, but because he's an unlimited person, if you offer him something, he can reach down and take your offering with his own hand. And a practical application of that would be to offer something to Krishna. He says in the Gita, offer me something. And so you could take him up on it. And it's a very visceral, and it's also heartfelt. When you offer something to Krishna as a person with the context and knowledge that he says, I'll accept it, and then the idea that he's an unlimited person, he could reach his hand out. It's not amorphous, it's not just abstract, but it's actually personal. That would be a practical application. And so when you're fortified with that understanding and then you make an offering, it's very different from just, we used to say, you should make offerings with love and devotion, not with lust and commotion. And there's a way that if it's just ritualistic and you forget that Krishna is actually reaching and taking your offering, then you just might put it down, ring the bell, and not give it as much thought as when you read Śāstra and read the Bhagavad-gītā and you have this clear sense that Krishna's going to reach out and take it. There are a lot of other examples, but Śāstra is amazingly relevant to our lives. And one realization I've had about reading Śrīmad-Bhāgvatam, especially at Kārtik time when we're able to read long sections at a time and hear the whole canto in a month, is that it solves all problems which originate, all of them, in the mind. And that there are various psychological anomalies that arise in the minds of humans, especially in mine, and that by hearing Śrīmad-Bhāgvatam, they become resolved. That's a practical application. And you don't have to do a lot except for be there and hear it. That's one of the principles that you were mentioning about Krishna comes and sweeps. It's the vidhunoti principle, that he's there actively cleaning the heart. If we're there actively listening with devotion. And that's very practical also, because people are always trying to position themselves in the world so that they don't suffer. It's the main thing everyone does, try to avoid suffering. But when you hear Śrīmad-Bhāgvatam, it's a natural way that your suffering diminishes because of the way it resolves the psychological anomalies, which are under three general categories: rāga, bhaya, krodha. And then there's subsections of those, ad infinitum. And the combinations and permutations of those are all dealt with in the Bhagavatam so expertly, like nobody else can do it like that. So that's very practical also. You'll notice that if you do nityam bhagavata sevaya, then you'll start to see your life as a real project rather than drudgery, that I have to go through these things. You feel that there is resolution to everything. And chanting is very practical also, which is recommended in the Śāstra.